Cinemascapes.
Right. So today's topic, we're going to talk about what we've been actually want to get into since this show started. We're going to talk about basically the current state of what's going on in gospel hip-hop, Christian hip-hop, positive hip-hop, whatever you like to call it. Today's episode is called Trap Gospel. We're going to get into that. We're going to basically talk about what we mean by that, why this episode is titled that, and why we came to the conclusion of it. This was Zaccheus' idea, and we thought it was a great topic. So before we get into that, what we like to do every week is kind of get into anything that is in hip-hop news or entertainment that is relative to what we talk about, anything that is major, anything that has happened within the time period between the last tapings or whatever that we do, recordings. So just recently, I think we're looking at, when did this thing launch? Hold on. Jay-Z's title track 444, that music video.
Yeah, man.
Let me get the data on that. This music video was uploaded
On the 13th of July on YouTube.
Okay, thank you. 13.
But before that, it was on Tidal.
Tidal, right. All right. So there have been, what we've seen throughout social media are reactions and breakdowns of Jay-Z's album. Before Jay-Z's album even dropped, The Story of OJ, that music video, there's a lot of breakdowns of that. So right now we're gonna do a little breakdown of kind of what we think this music video 444 is about, what it means to us, And so here's the thing. So we just saw it. We all saw it.
Yes.
Cinema, I'm gonna let you start it off. In your opinion, what do you think what did you get from that video? Like, what did you personally think that video might have been about?
Well, there's a lot open to interpretation. Basically, the first thing that hit me was, what events in the world, what they were going through in the chronological order, and how the dancers are dancing, and there are a lot of metaphors while the lyrics are going, the song is basically about his relationship with his wife, but there's a lot of things in the video that are going on around. There's even a clip of them, from Drunken Love. A lot of this is speculation because you don't know what's in people's heads.
Right.
There's a lot about the plight of the American, community.
Cinema, hold on. There's some static. Just hold on 1 second. Cinema, I'm gonna get back to you. I'm gonna let Skype kind of do what it has to do because the audio is kind of messed up. Let me just, I'm gonna bring it back to you. Don't worry about it. I'm just gonna bring it back. Okay, Zaccheus, wow.
Yeah, man.
Working out this technical difficulty here. Zaccheus, what is your take on the 444 music video?
I thought it was very conscious. It gives us, like what Cinema was saying, it gives us, you just look deep into it and you see that it just takes us where it's state of where black people is right now, as far as the streets, as far as how we view today's way of life, especially growing up in today's youth, growing up and what their mental state is, because there was a whole lot I seen in that video. I seen the dude getting run over by a vehicle, which was crazy because you can see it in a lot of our reality shows. We do go crazy. Not even the reality shows, in the news. Look at the news and you see mothers hurting their kids. You see like I heard earlier this week about a man getting killed by his wife over some life insurance. Crazy. Over life insurance, over some crazy life insurance. And you see, you view the news and you see certain things happening in the news, and you look at Jay's video and you see like wow, this is going on right now. And then when you see the dancers, the woman with the chain, and you see the dude with the chain, he's dancing with the chain on, and then he gives it to the woman, the female dancer, black female dancer, and you see her looking like she's about to lynch herself. with the chain. That metaphor is crazy. And I know Cinema got a lot to say on that, man. I mean, we as people, we value products more than we value ourselves. We brought it, especially with certain clothing lines or certain products that we put on ourselves. Our value, how we value certain things is more than how we value our self-worth, or value how we are raised in the home. When you see no father figures in the home to help raise a boys to be men, and then you look at Jay's videos and you see the Sambo. What do you call himself, J-Bo? Yeah.
You're referring to the Story of OJ music video.
Yeah, that one too. Yeah. But that video is very deep, man. It's like you can look at it over and over again, and you can see the state of where we are and the state of how we used to be and how it's transformed. And then I see like some crazy. It was that same video where it sees we just our self-worth of us showing ourselves and us portraying ourselves in a negative way and negative images that we gotta correct, and we don't, and we still gotta work on ourselves, and still gotta and look at our history, because that J video, 444 video, got a lot of history in it that we like. I know people are gonna look at it and not really pay attention, but that's the kind of video that you can actually look at over and over again, and you can still learn from it. And like, wow, that's what he's saying in that video. That's what I get from that video.
All right, Cinema, we're gonna pass it back to you. I think everything should be fine now.
Yeah. Okay.
There we go. Good.
So the plight of the African, he just picked up right where I was. The plight of the African American community, and also things about him growing as a person.
Right.
Because you also, while you're watching this dance and play, you're listening to the lyrics, and the lyrics are personal. And it's like, how you have levels in life, and then there's just some times in your life you just grow, and you don't even know yourself.
That's true.
You've become the image that you've given yourself, but you don't know who you are anymore.
Wow.
And so, and then there's a form of slavery in that,
Talk about it.
And the chain, the chain was like the hanging and the chain going back and forth and wearing the chain, It was the modern person and then the woman in slave garb. Very interesting. There's a lot of textures in there, and there's a lot. It could be interpreted a lot of ways. But the historical events, the things, the story. The story is the guy who got shot and said, he's talking about, you know too much. I'm not gonna take you yet. I was lying there with the bullet in my stomach. Right. There's a lot of things to connect, which tells the story, why am I still here? Like how he thinks he's found his purpose in life, right. I think in there too.
Right.
And it's really interesting. It's, cause, like you said on the show last week, we got used to a Jay-Z, a commercial Jay-Z. And, even sites are even saying things we were saying about, the shaping of grown man hip hop.
Right.
It's because you're growing up. When you grow up, when you're a kid, you're a kid. I had a conversation with one of my relatives this weekend, and we said, when you're 20 and stuff, you're on the corner, you're doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
When you get in your 30s and 40s, you don't do that no more.
No.
So you're not talking about that. So he can't talk about that because he's not in that place no more, and it wouldn't be genuine. You come to a new place, you grow up, you start to realize, I know you could, Zaccheus, you start to realize your parents are right about some things, and you're like, oh,
yes,
yeah.
Oh, I just didn't. I wasn't at a place where I can see it this way,
right?
And so you see a lot of that, And, it starts out with just the violence we had in the streets with each other, then the violence toward us.
Yeah.
And then, there's a lot of things in that video. You could sit there and dissect, but, since we're doing this briefly, the biggest thing that hit me was the end when he talked about, you're going to see me. You're going to go back. This is, how everything's recorded now.
Right.
You're going to see this and you're going to find out this about me. And, really, it was about fatherhood and really caring for his family. I risk you. And you're, and you see me and I'm your hero right now.
Right.
But I'm not a hero. That, when I listened to the song, that hit me.
Yeah.
But the way he ended the video, the screen goes blue and then you see Blue Ivy, and I was like, dag.
That's the future. I guess he's trying to say, what about our future? Yeah.
You see the two dancers.
Yes.
Where the female locks eyes on the young brother who's dancing.
Yes.
And the shock that she had in her eyes and the shock in his eyes.
Yes.
And at that point of the video, he said, when you realize Santa Claus is fake, and when you go to Blue's Tooth and realize the Tooth Fairy didn't pay. I mean, when, I would, he said, if my daughter didn't look at me the same, I would die with all the shame. And then you also look at how the video is portraying what it's portraying. And then, like you said, with the lyrics of the song and the subject matter, it's
right.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And then, you'll watch it again, you'll get more out of it.
Exactly.
But that hit me. That line hit me when I heard the song by itself. But now seeing that visual made it even more powerful. The shocked eyes. And then you're all this and you're wondering what's going to happen. Then the screen goes blue.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see the child. And then it's like, dang, it hit home.
You did.
It hit home because you have children, Zaccheus, know.
Yes.
Well, imagine you did something that your kids, that's the most devastating thing because they're going to find out because we're in the information age.
Yeah, they're watching every move you make.
He's teaching fatherhood when you think about it because as personal as this album is, other than just that song, if anybody who has heard 444, there are certain parts, there are parts in the album where he's talking about doing things that how they make you look and also how they result around you, who they affect, your family, and the things that you need to do so that your family don't have to struggle like you do. You never heard these things come out of Jay-Z like this to this magnitude. Now you've heard it from other artists, because I know a couple of people are saying, I don't understand Common and Nas and most Def been talking about this stuff. True.
Yes.
But it's the fact that
Jay is talking
that Jay is talking about it. And Jay to me was always like that guy that I was waiting for to become this. This is going to sound pretty off. When he was battling Nas and he dissed him on Takeover and he said, what you trying to do? He said, what you trying to kick knowledge? And my whole thing was like, yo, Jay, you sound ignorant making it cool to diss somebody who's trying to inform you. And it was the heat of battle, so he probably didn't mean it.
Right.
So it's almost like he's coming for a full circle, and he's dissing the very things that he made cool, and he's saying, nah, that was whack.
Right.
And he basically started the album off like that with Kill Jay-Z.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in basic, that's what I was about to say. Kill Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Basically killed,
Kill the old me.
That's the equivalent of Ice Cube back in the days saying, I want to kill Sam.
Right.
And talking about Uncle Sam. If you listen to the things, and then Ice Cube has a very conscious song on that album called Us that you people need to listen to. And that was, that's when I started, you see the transformation. That's when he started stepping out of NWA and becoming the Ice Cube we know.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And Jay, I love Jay. Y'all know I love Jay.
Yeah.
But I'm excited about this Jay because I'm not only excited about this. What's next?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm interested. I always check on you because I like you, but now I'm waiting.
I'm gonna go ahead and say this real quick. I'll hand it to you right in a second, Zaccheus.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say this real quick. If this is Jay-Z's last album, I'm fine with it. You know why? Because it's a good way to end it. And,
Right.
I'll tell you why. If anybody has heard that song Legacy, which is the last track on 444,
Yep.
it's almost like he's saying, you know what? I'm not telling you I'm leaving, because remember, that was what happened with the Black Album. If I return like Jordan wearing the 4-5, it's not to play games with you, it's to lay names with you. You know what I'm saying? You know, so, and then he ended up doing that then. He's not saying he's retiring. I think he learned from that, because remember, he tried that back then. So, what I get from that is he's saying, look, I said what I needed to say, and if this is my last, I'm going to go out with a bang and with creative freedom, because 444 to me represents creative freedom for Jay-Z.
Yeah, yes. Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of passion and financing that is put into the release of this album. Down not just to from the music all the way down to the marketing, pre and post. So this is an album that went platinum, and some people are criticizing Jay, saying, well, maybe he's trying to cash in on being conscious. First off, there's no money in being conscious.
None.
If that was the case, how come Martin Luther King and Malcolm X didn't die rich, wealthy men?
That's true.
Exactly.
There is no money into being conscious and empowering your people.
They actually said that?
There's no. You have some people who are not taking Jay-Z for face value with this album because of the things that Jay-Z has done musically in the past. And because of that, a lot of people are holding on to their Illuminati ties with him and all the conspiracies against him, that they're not listening to what he's saying. Say this is a marketing scheme and a good strategy by both of them, both Jay and Beyonce. Say it is. It doesn't mean that the things that he didn't say on his album wasn't informative and wasn't the truth. You know what I'm saying? Say this is that. It still doesn't deny the truth. Attack the speaker, but here's the thing. I've heard my grandfather say this. He didn't originally say this, but I'm pretty sure you heard this somewhere. He said, but he said this within the context of being in churches with pastors. He said, eat the meat and spit out the bones. So there's a lot of meat that is in Jay-Z's album. Pause. Jesus, let me say that. You know, as far as with what he's saying, right? There's a lot of nuggets of truth that is dropped. Even if him being the speaker ends up saying, nah, I ain't really mean all that, but what he said was still the truth. You know, this man's talking about generational wealth, passing down and creating generational wealth. These are things that I've heard personally from people that I look up to as far as in Black history. You know? So this is Jay-Z obviously reads. People think Jay-Z ain't smart. He's a very smart, intelligent guy. And you're seeing a lot of the intelligence and things that he learned within his lifetime. And he's talking about it in this album. What he's talking about are mountains of information. And a lot of people are saying he's fake deep. Okay, well, if he's fake deep, then he's giving information that is actually something that you could apply to your life.
And can I say something real quick?
Ahead. Yeah.
Just because you don't like the message, it doesn't change the truth.
Thank you.
If someone told you the truth and they fell off, they fell off.
Right.
It doesn't change the truth. The truth is the truth, no matter who it comes through, whatever. What happens is people want to discredit somebody so they don't got to deal with what they said.
Facts.
And it doesn't matter. If it's the truth, it's the truth.
The truth.
Period.
Yeah. I want somebody to tell me what lies he spoke in just that particular song, The Story of OJ. I just want somebody to, I'm just saying, if what he's saying isn't real and it's fake deep, I just want to know, what did he say that was a lie in that song?
And what's fake deep?
Yeah, and exactly. I want somebody
Say,
When
you know,
when was the last time?
yeah, go Zach.
When was
Yeah.
the last time that anybody that's on the mainstream hip hop circle came up with a conscious vibe like that? I mean, as far as like to date,
You mean
2017?
You mean on the scale of Jay-Z,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who on Jay-Z's scale who's put out something conscious? An argument can be made for J. Cole and Kendrick. The only difference is Jay-Z's been out longer than them.
Yes.
So to me, Jay-Z's over them.
Right.
But if we're talking about today's modern and mainstream music, I would definitely put Kendrick there because Kendrick dropped a lot of but he did that on To Pimp a Butterfly.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So this was, so if I could, kind of answer your question, I would give them that. Also, Common on Black America again. I mean, some people will probably say, well, Common is not on the celebrity level of Jay-Z. That's fine. You could argue that.
Okay.
But I'm just naming people who people can reference as far as mainstream. Well, here's the one thing though. Common don't get airplay like Jay. Yeah. So Jay's album is able to reach more people because of that.
Yes. And this also opens up. Don't you think this also opens the market for conscious hip hop to come out more now?
You know what? I'm gonna still say no because who runs the industry. But this does open an open forum for anybody who wants to do any business with Jay-Z to have that more of a conscious movement. If Jay-Z, here's my thing about Jay. Here's my challenge to Jay. He'll probably never listen to this, but if he does, Jay, we like what you did with this project. Now, invest in some artists who are putting out material that is similar to what you just did with this album. It's good to do it. Now, get behind it. Because it's one thing to yourself as an artist to do something, but then it's another thing to now get behind other artists who do it too.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
To me, it matters more when you get behind and support.
And see, and that's a
here,
place where people get mad at me for giving props to Kanye, but I'm like, who signed Common and put all those albums out by him in that whole stretch?
Well,
and even did production. But, I'm talking about as an investment thing. I'm not talking about publicly talking.
Right.
I'm talking about putting your money where your mouth is.
Right.
And I said, whether you like him or not, look at his track record of where he puts his money. And at the artist, B got, B and a lot of stuff got to happen because, after, nobody knew what was going to happen after Relativity and all that.
I wish this album had Nas on it.
Yeah.
Nas would have fit right in.
Nas would have fit in. Yeah. Man.
He would have fit in perfectly.
But I think it's something he needed to do himself before he had somebody come along.
And that's good. And that's good.
And so, you know how it is.
Yeah.
It's like if you get an idea like that and you're working alone and you just get, when you're in the studio and you're working like that and it's flowing, you just got to get it out.
That's true.
While the pen is hot and while the inspiration is there.
And then the album was too personal to include a whole bunch of features. I mean, he has features as far as like a hook,
right,
or a chorus,
but
he doesn't have anybody having verses on his record.
No.
This was very personal. He needed to get this out.
Yeah,
you could tell this was therapeutic for him.
Right, and that's how it is. And that's where art. That's where music as art.
Right.
Always. That's where the longevity comes from.
Right. This was an art piece. Because I tell you something right now, I was very disappointed in Magna Carta. So I was glad that I'm just keeping it real. Because, I got to. I said
I remember.
Right. I said last episode how I wasn't the most diehard Jay-Z fan. I was more of a earlier Jay-Z fan as far as, Black Album and down. And then this album basically made me it brought me back and trust that the artistry in him again. It made me say, man, this is the Jay-Z that I want to hear from this point on, and the Jay-Z that I've been hoping to hear all this time. Everybody else wanted that big pimpin' Jay-Z. That's what they wanted. They wanted, big pimpin' music.
Yeah.
No,
Big
you wasn't
pimpin'.
you wasn't getting that with this album.
Yeah, no, you're not getting that with this.
You're not. And what does it say about a man to do a song called Big Pimpin' and now he has a daughter? No.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
It doesn't,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
doesn't speak very well of you as a man to
Right,
have daughters.
Yeah.
And
Or
you know
even
it's-
even sons, it don't matter. But especially a daughter.
Yeah. Exactly. Big pimp. Nah.
Yeah.
No.
In a closing note, the last time this
No.
happened in music that was mainstream, that wasn't hip hop, was Marvin Gaye's What's Going On.
Mm-hmm.
He changed from an R&B artist to a conscious artist.
I remember that. Yeah. Yes.
And
Yeah.
and this is that kind of feel for me.
Oh, and by the way, Motown didn't want that album, and ended up being his best album.
Wait a minute. Motown didn't want that album?
Motown did not want that album.
And also at that same time,
They hated the
Motown-
direction he was going in.
Yeah,
Consciousness.
Yeah, and Motown also had made a label for Stevie because Stevie start for music, freedom.
Oh, let me
Which
say
is-
allegedly. Oops. Allegedly, Motown did not want that album.
Yeah,
Because he was baby making music #1 basically, or at least part of that.
Mm-hmm.
So how you go from let's get it on,
Let's get it on.
to
What's going on?
exactly, you know what I'm saying?
What's going on?
Let's get it on to what's going on.
but let's get on. Still
Mercy,
came later.
mercy
He went
me.
back. But you got to understand at that time Stevie fought for freedom,
Mhm.
and you had Music of My Mind and Talking Book, from Stevie, which they had Motown made a sub label for Stevie because they were still pushing the Motown sound,
Yeah.
and then you have two of your top artists not doing the profitable Motown sound,
Mm.
and you have a bottom line because you are a business.
Right.
So basically, Stevie blew up because, both of them found their own sound.
Mhm.
And, history tells it. Marvin Gaye albums are still selling digitally.
Right.
Stevie's still selling digitally,
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so basically, you had guys who wanted to make timeless music.
Yes.
And we're talking about Motown. Motown had the blockbuster songwriting team,
Mhm.
including Barry Gordy himself. They hit after hit, jam after jam. Listen to the Jackson 5 production in Motown. The Jacksons were, they were still good. Michael was finding his way, on to being who he was going to be because
Right.
the Jacksons was still good, but those kids, while they were learning, that's a music education. Oh my gosh, arrangement, musicianship. And that band, the Funk Brothers,
Mhm.
yeah, sweet,
Exactly.
And so, that's always been the thing, and that runs into today's topic that we're talking about anyway. There's
Right.
always like, what's popular and what, am I going to do what I feel in my heart?
Right. And so we're gonna get into the topic. Anything last you want to say about this before we move in to our topic, Zaccheus?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I that video right there just it's so informative that it's gonna be timeless. That's gonna be a timeless Jay-Z video right there because of the content and because of the message behind the footage of the video and the lyrics and the song. I just wanted this to open up more doors for more conscious hip hop artists to come out and be not afraid to put up material. I know he's established artist and he did his Big Pimpin' days and he did a lot of albums that had nothing to do with consciousness, but
Yeah.
but no, he can do it. No, he has a artistic freedom to put out conscious music now.
Well, I like
I
like the fact that his album went platinum because this is a conscious album, conscious in the sense of, I guess a better way. I wouldn't necessarily say conscious. I'll just say woke. We'll stay with the stay woke words.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's a more woke album. Because consciousness is even deeper than this album. But I would say for him, It's a very mature album, a mature message.
Yeah.
It's the most, you know, I feel like this album is an awakening for Jay-Z, not only just musically, but as an adult, as a human being. And I just hope that whatever he does from this point on, that not only that he continues this musically, but he just gets behind other artists who do this musically, because if this would have been from any other artist, it would have been the greatest album nobody ever heard.
Yeah, you got that right.
But being that it's from him,
yeah,
he proved that you could love what you do, and then it ended up being successful anyway. And I think one of the reasons why this album did so good is because, I mean, it's him, but then it's also he was able to do something at a certain time of his career. So he basically put out the right album at the right time. Because if this would have been Hard Knock Life Jay-Z doing 444 at Hard Knock Life, he wouldn't be the star that he is today. I mean, let's just keep it real.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. All right, so today's topic, trap gospel. Now, Zaccheus, this was something that you was interested in. I'm gonna let you take lead on this. So,
yeah, man.
Just talk about what was your number one reason for this topic, and basically expand on how you want to the direction you want this to go in, as far as why you brought this up and how you feel.
Well, we put an album back in 2015 together, plus a mixtape too, and this is not only we didn't put up just conscious music. We put up is also gospel too.
Yeah.
So
what's more gospel?
It's more gospel, than conscious. So we said I just decided to just talk about this because it's important. I've heard 1190 like a lot of radio stations like that play certain holy hip hop of today, and I heard some of the sounds of holy hip hop. I'm like, wow, this is different. Why is it sounding like Future? You know what I'm saying? Or why it's sounding like, oh, wait a minute. Migos. So why? Yeah, you know. Yeah, and it's like, wait a minute. This is gospel too? Oh, it's gospel too, but it sounds a little trap though. I was like, wait a minute. Okay. Why do it sound like little bougie or you know, or you know, I'm like,
you mean Lil Yachty?
Yachty, yeah, you know.
Lil Uzi Vert?
Yeah, and I'm like saying to myself, like, wait a minute, that sounded a little different. I said, maybe we can talk about this for next episode. I don't know. But we could talk about it. Right. So I find it very interesting. I'm like, wait a minute. But I just, in my mind, I just believe that holy hip hop should have its own kind of sound and establish that. But the artists going to do their own, the artists going to come out and do their thing. You know, they want to bring whatever's popping today, they want to bring the youth. They figure that they use a method of how the world is sounding, just to bring more youth into Christ. So they decided to say, okay, we'll change the metaphor. Holy hip hop don't have to sound like preachy. It can sound a little trap. Like Erica came up with I love God. Do you love God? And she came up with that tune, and I said, okay, I guess it's they wanted to change the metaphor a little bit, man. And okay,
I love him.
Yeah. So I said, okay. I guess they wanted to change the metaphor of holy hip hop and bring it into more trap. And this is where people sometimes get kind of confused, and sometimes they listen to because sometimes when you hear a song, some people don't listen to the lyrics right away. They hear the rhythm and they hear the beat, and they're like, okay. And then then they stop for a little while, and then they're like, wait, he said Jesus in it. Oh, it says Christ in it. So I find it very interesting to talk about it. That why change the format of holy hip hop, and then that's why I wanted to talk about it and just elaborate on it a little bit.
Cinema, what's your take?
Well, I'll go back to early on where in gospel hip hop. Well, I'll do some quick history, but not too much. There was a time in gospel hip hop where, and in some places and a lot of places, it's still not embraced. We'll probably get to that later, if not another time. But early on, when you had, after you had your initials, you had your PIDs, your SFCs, your DC talks, basically it wasn't really accepted at all at first. It was just people did, but it wasn't. Let's just say I had hands put on me and escorted out.
Wow.
Back like early 90s, like I was still in high school. Graduated high school about 92. It's like 89, 90. Yeah, we were given the hand of the hand of fellowship.
Wow.
Out. Because at first they don't tell you. Yeah, they're gonna come and minister. They were very not specific, and didn't let us go. And so yeah. So you had a lot of instances of that, and then a lot of people got if you listen to "Piece in the Puzzle" by Future Shock, or on their first album, "Remember the Future," it talks about that. How they were rejected by their church and things like that. It's a hot song. Anyway, if you haven't heard it, so that it started getting in the music with the other stuff we were talking about, and so as it spread, you had people who were for and against it. So nobody really cared about it. So the artistry was free. So it wasn't really, oh yeah, we're doing this because this is the language we talk. We're responsible for our generation. So we're going to speak to our generation. Now, about after cross movement, and when it started getting mainstream everywhere, where you didn't have to look for your albums or order your albums by mail or have your Christian bookstore order your albums like I used to have to. And I have like a big collection. If, I might just put pictures of it online on my Cinemascapes page. But, when that came, then there was an expectation, movement sounded like a Christian Wu-Tang. So then you start getting that vibe going. Okay, so then sounding like people, or I want this sound with this message started coming to the forefront. I'm not saying they were, but I'm just saying the expectation of that started happening. And that's how youth pastors were using it. And that, this is all speculation at this point, but that's what was happening. And then if somebody had something, Jay came out, then a Christian rapper that kind of sounded like Jay came out, and we'll just move on from that. That thing started happening. Yeah, and so the natural, no, they're from Philly.
Philly, and they sound like Philly, and they sound like that. Okay.
Philly and New York had, back then, yeah, it wasn't much diversity of your own area yet. It was still East and West when they came out, Yep. And all those who have the original tape of, the Cross Movement album, shout out to y'all. Because I had to, with the original Cypher Time with the doo-ba-doo, that chunk was hot. And so around that time, expectations started getting put on it because churches were having events. And like what always happens, what happens in industry when we were talking about the industry. So now I want, and when they used to talk about an artist, they would say, "Oh, this guy sounds like this rapper," and it wasn't true. It just to get the kids from the youth group there to just hear a rapper. Now, I was victim of that, and the guy was good, and I wasn't mad at him. But I told the youth leader, I said, you can't say that. Like somebody who listens to that, I would be upset if I didn't have a good attitude. I'd be upset because I was ready for a certain, sound of vibe. So, when you start getting these other people into it, youth pastors and things like that, oh, I'm looking for a guy. Oh, he's hot. Now, I bet you youth pastors are looking, who that Christian rapper that got that 444 sound that just went
Yeah.
That's why, you're talking about Future, Migos, and all them, they're big now. So they want their kids to come.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit of history because, Christian hip hop kind of started like how secular hip hop kind of started. Nobody wanted to have anything to do with it.
Right.
And then the stigma of that in church, because it was in the inner city.
most of my earlier groups, we didn't record. We just rapped from place to place so much people knew our lyrics and they knew our hooks. And so, Fat for Christ would show up, Corey Red Rice would show up somewhere else, churches in Brooklyn would have those events. We'd be out in Coney Island, a big rap concert. You had the Horsemen going around. I mean, this is just New York local that people don't, and Chubster, Juan would be out, Chubster for Christ, Juan would be out there, and we would be doing events or going to other people's events, and we're all just, we were rapping. And we were making, and we were just making what we felt at the time, because they're really, when nobody's really watching over it, there's no rules. But then when it starts getting popular, everybody wants to come out with these rules. Oh, these guys did this. And it's like, no, that's not how it was. And then we're looking for stuff. We found SFC, Listen Up, but off air, I was talking about Mike Peace. We had found somebody from way back. There was Tony T. Somebody in our church got the tape, and he was from the New York area. And so we had a tape, you copy and tape the tape. Some of y'all don't even know what a cassette tape is. Listening. But, we were going to the tape. Yeah, this is hot. Then PID came out, Preachers, and this is not in crowd, D-Boy, Dynamic Twins. And so it started growing, and it started, and a lot of that was when, the group, the label I gave the shout out to, Broken, when I started being able to find these in Christian stores, or at least the catalog, and order them. And then, they had to do newsletter back then. So you're in there, and you couldn't listen to CDs back in the days. So you're looking at the cover like, should I take this risk? Should I,
Right.
And it's not, you didn't have so much to choose from. Yeah, like MCRG, JC and the Boys. We bought everything that said rap. We got it because, and then, with the good and the bad, whatever, we weren't mad. We was just looking. But when we got SFC, Soup the Chemist, when we got him, me and my brother, that was hot to us. And then Same Man in the Jungle came out. That's one of those albums that,
Did you buy DC Talk too?
I love DC Talk, dude. So yes, I did buy DC Talk, and I was singing Heaven Bound. Make fun of me. I don't care.
So, hey, Jay,
I bought anything that said rap because it was so rare. I could name groups that people don't even know exist, because if it was there and it was rap, that's what we wanted at the time.
Right.
But now you have a flooded market. You got marketing, you got labels here, you got different genres. You got Humble Beast, you got, you have Goatee, coming up, people were doing tapes themselves, sending you tapes. And then when they started burning CDs, compilations was your life, because people were taking the independent artists off of tapes, getting, deals to put them on compilations, and you were hearing songs. Like, when Soup didn't have a contract, wasn't working with anybody, he did a independent song that was hot, and it was on a compilation. That was your lifeline. So you basically was trying to get your hands on whatever. Now you could be selective. I'm like, what's that? I was like, even if it was whack, you found a song on there because you're mixing it in. And then I used to play the music for my youth group. So I was trying to find something for everybody.
No. For general, most churches are accepting holy hip hop in their church, right, to perform, right?
Here's my take on that. So you have a situation where we ran into that. We won't name the church, but it was a 7-day event. This church, we got booked at. We performed True School Cypher.
Oh yes.
And we performed that, and when that came on, that's when the atmosphere started to get a little different. Here we had a person who booked us for the event and told the pastor This is the type of music they do, or I don't know, or did she?
Mhm.
So then all of a sudden, I get up there and start rapping, and I got up there and performed. I got on the stage,
Mhm.
so maybe I did something I shouldn't have did, but nobody came to me and said, "Yo, we just wanted you to perform on in front of the stage, not on the stage." So maybe that's what upset them. But before that even happened, when the beat came on,
The looks.
So
for your information,
right.
it's just a drum loop. That song is basically a drum loop. Nothing. It doesn't have a bass line or nothing. It's just a drum loop.
Yeah,
For those, yeah.
For those who people never heard it because we never released it, but the beat is just simple.
Yeah, exactly.
It was one of those tracks that we could just lyrically go off on.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when the beat dropped, it was almost like, uh-oh. And my verse is at the end. So the reaction already started. Actually, no. My verse is in the beginning. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Is it beginning?
I'm thinking of a different song.
Mm-hmm.
So, but before I started, cats, they had a problem with that, and
I sing in the reggae, but
you was
chatting,
right.
yeah.
You ended the verse, and the hook was like the real in the past have become old news, so we bring it way back to the old school,
yeah.
blended in with the new and call it true school. Now behold to follow the new rules.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So there was nothing wrong with the chorus.
Right.
That's church friendly, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
So it could have been because it was a 7-day event. This church, without getting in too deep to it, they have a particular doctrine,
man,
and they didn't agree with what was going on. But the whole thing is, we shouldn't have been booked there. That's my point. We should have never been booked there. So when you say, Zaccheus, answer your question, do some churches still accept it? Well, that one didn't, but the person who was of that church should have just said, yo, maybe not for this event. And maybe not for this building.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because then that would have been fine. But we got to kind of push this up a bit as far as why we're talking about the trends and stuff. Zaccheus, this is going to be my question to you. Why do you feel that Christian rappers, gospel rappers, whatever they want to be called. I have to say it that way because Christian hip hop is not a genre; it's a community, really, within a genre.
Right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So why do you think artists such of that background and artists who are gospel singers and stuff like that, why do you feel that they need to follow a trend to be relevant within a market that is different from secular music per se?
Well, it's always like this: is that you try to grab the youth that's unsaved, and they do that. They do it so they can grab the attention of all listeners. They're not just Christians.
Right.
So
people
what they
people
do,
who don't go to church is what you mean.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what they do is they take sometimes, and they go as far as this. Remember I told you about that song called I went to a barbecue out, and I think tempted to, Rupee. Shamik, I went to a show, a barbecue show, a gospel Caribbean barbecue show, and they had a guy, I performed last time, I didn't perform that time, but they had a guy that was singing, one of the artists, gospel, reggae artist singing, was gospel soca singing, took a song from Rupee, Tempted to Touch, and he twisted into gospel and put before the I want to praise the Lord. Tempted to, he was singing Lord I love you, Lord, or Lord I need you so much before the end of, he was singing and he's singing it, and that whole Tempted to Touch with, he brought it into that form, and I was like, wow, he just and a lot of folks that's in the church, they didn't know that he was. I knew it because I know the soca song "Tempted to Touch" by Rupee, but the people in the church, I guess they were liking it because, but he just took the whole song and just changed the lyrics and put God and put Christian lyrics into it. Same thing with the song called "Cream." Christ rules everything around me. Cream, Christ rules everything. They took that from the Wu-Tang book. Christ rules everything around me. Yo, Shamik, what do you think? What do you get from that, man? Do you think it's corny? What do you think? What do you think, man?
Hold on. Cinema, before you answer that, you mean, like, what do you mean about, okay, so, Zaccheus, you mean, how do you feel about artists who mimic a popular song
that's out there,
but make it like a Christian version?
Christian version,
okay.
which I hear sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. See, that's even, with style. If you basically in hip hop, it used to be biting.
Yeah, sharp biting,
and it was not allowed. And the whole thing is, basically, I was a youth pastor on Staten Island at one time, and I won't name the artist because the artist is a signed artist who's popular.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but this was while they were coming up, and they were doing the mixtape thing with beats from other stuff. And all my kids kept telling me is what song that really was and how they didn't like it. And these are the teenagers. And me, at the time, I wasn't really doing music. I was doing engineering. I was kind of too busy youth pastoring and doing engineering to really be in touch with stuff. So, when I saw an event as a youth pastor, you take them.
Right, right.
And, there are artists that they enjoy, but when the dude got up there doing mixtape stuff with beats they were familiar with, they didn't really like it. But the whole thing was, it's like, if you're doing a dedication, it depends on the context, but if you're taking somebody else's concept and trying to change it, like I'm going to, people used to try to do that with worship songs and it didn't work well.
Yeah. Like I'm gonna make my Christian version of this particular song. Like,
I think it's lazy.
Yeah.
And I think if you're a real Christian, with and you really depend on God for creativity, that He can give you something that's creative or idea. Yeah. But okay, I don't have a beat maker or something. You got be professional. Hire somebody. Pay somebody for the beat. You're not getting freebies. But that's a side note. But if you need material, it's like, as soon as you heard it, how does it make you feel? As soon as I hear anything, if I hear somebody close enough and it's supposed to be an original song, I'm like, I'm already disinterested, straight out. And and that's not a diss on a person's talent or anything. That's just the truth. Excuse me. That's just the truth. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, why can't you make an investment to just do something? Even if you're using somebody else's beat and you're in a mixtape form because you can't, why not do an original idea? Because before I learned how to make beats, I used to have to use other people's beats. And why not make I used to use the UNITY beat all the time.
What do you mean, the one from Latifah?
Yeah, because I'm a hip hop head. I have instrumentals because singles came with instrumentals back then. Remember? And so and so I just rap what I'm rapping. Yeah. But when I was there, I said, "Yo, I don't have any beats, so I'm doing an original song, but you're gonna recognize the beat." I prepped the crowd for it.
Right.
And so they're like, "Okay, the song eventually got its own beat because then I learned it or I got But it's like you got to prepare people for stuff. If you're just gonna bust out like,
But the point is, you didn't take her whole concept and then.
Right, I didn't say JESUS, JESUS. That's a Jesus. But you know what I'm saying? We're laughing about it, but how does somebody, it's their first time in the church, and then all you do is copy what I listen to anyway?
I used to hear G-A-D-O-E, man. I was like, who was this? I mean,
there's a lot of it. We all have stories.
Oh my God!
Yo,
when I heard that, and then I heard the dual rap group with Christ rules everything around me. I was like, wait a minute,
I heard more than one type. I've heard more than one rapper and one group do that, and I'm like,
yeah, that's done to death.
And then the whole
Christ
thing
rules
is
everything around
none
me
of
is done to death.
none of them are from Staten Island. And then
Yeah.
I was out in Ohio and I was looking. They was like looking. They was like, "Yo, where he from?" He said Staten Island, and then their eyes got big. I'm like, dude, I went to church. Grew up. My church has been by Wu-Tang my whole life.
Exactly.
I was born in Park Hill. Literally, we were living in.
This is interesting, but to kind of draw some perspective here.
Yeah.
Like Zaccheus was saying, a lot of them feel to be relevant to what's going on currently, and I would say from a financial standpoint, a lot of them feel they have to sound like that because in the broad stroke of the hip hop community, that's how they feel, and because Christian hip hop is a community within that genre, that's gonna rain down on us as well. So I actually understand that. But what I want people to do of all artistry is to just be true to your sound, because people will accept it if it's good. Like for instance, we just spent the first half of the show talking about Jay-Z's album. He's a great example of somebody, he himself, who's been guilty of adjusting his style to stuff. And on that song Moonlight, he dissed today's trend of mumble rap. He did.
Yeah.
He was like, y'all stuck in La La Land. Y'all got me so confused. Y'all got the same flows. I don't know who is who. You know, and he sampled Fuji la 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 la. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then in the song he said, "Look what they did to Lauryn Hill." And y'all supposed no, he said, "Look," he said, "Y'all still take advances. Look what they did to Lauryn Hill." And y'all supposed to be trill. Like he's basically saying, "Shame on you, hip hop, for changing who you are and thinking you need to be like something you're not, when you should be holding those accountable for what they've done to our art, for what they've done to our industry." Now he's guilty of it too. That's why he had to do a song like Kill Jay-Z, because he's like, look, I'm gonna talk about me. I'm gonna do self accountability, but then I'm gonna hold the others accountable. You know what I'm saying? So, I use that as a segue, because we talked about Jay, and like you said, it links up to what we're talking about now. So, me personally, I will never. For me, the boom bap era is what I grew up in. Lyricism is what I've always been challenged with to be true to.
Yes.
So I will always, no matter what song I do, put in my best. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of people in gospel hip hop have this thing about, well, it really don't have to be that lyrical, just keep it biblical. I'm like, well, it's still music, so, you can still have art. I mean, my God. I mean, why you feel that you got to be so pigeonholed into something of that nobody even put you under?
I heard, don't keep it so deep. I heard that before.
I've heard don't keep it so deep. I've also heard I've heard don't keep it so deep. I've heard some people say it ain't deep enough. So,
right.
I've heard people say that.
Right. I've heard it all, man. I've heard keep a hook.
This is
simple hook.
But
that's all people need.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Go ahead, Cinema.
But that's the problem that I have in the gospel community. Personally, I'm speaking for myself.
Yeah.
Where someone will come in and I want this. And I'm like, how are you going to dictate to the artist how do they make music? Do you go to Michael Jackson's house and say, Michael, or, go on Michael's page, Michael, next time you make a Billie Jean type track, I want blah, blah, blah. I want less bass line. I want a little more swing on the hi-hat.
Heck out of here. You don't tell Michael nothing.
You don't tell any artist anything.
Exactly.
What do you do? If you want that type of music, go find it. What happens is it still exists. Oh, we had to dig crates, find stuff. We had to look in music stores' catalogs to find stuff. You got Google. Google it. Number one, if you're dictating someone's art, that's an outside source. That's an outside source, and it changes everything.
Right. Basically, a foreigner. You're foreign to it.
Diggable Planet's first and second album. First album produced by them. That sound. Second album was good, but not as good as the first because there were other producers and other people involved in their process, which changes what? The sound.
The sound, right. Oh, they had the sound change at the second album?
It was there, but it wasn't like the first album where you could tell other people when someone's in your ear, you're not going to get what you get. It's like when I go to work on music, I'm going away. It's like, don't talk to me. I'm not going to give you, I don't want an opinion until I give you something that's done. That's how I work. They did the first album alone. And I'm not saying the second album was whack because I love Diggable's albums. Mm-hmm. But I'm just saying you could hear a difference in it. Same thing was you would think that would have happened to the Fugees. No, they kept it. Why? You have to have the people involved in it that keep that sound. You could tell when someone changes a producer, so they have to change his style because, I'm going to mess with this guy. I'm not messing with this guy no more.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. And you know what the interesting thing is that on that subject is that within that particular subject you just said, a lot of these artists we talk about in the mainstream are signed.
Right.
What is the excuse of the independent artists? Because the gospel hip hop community is mainly independent. So nobody, you know what I'm saying? So what's their excuse for following and making it feel like they need to be like this guy, that guy? You know what I'm saying? They don't have the same excuse.
You know what is? It's two mentalities when you're making music.
Zaccheus, you go next. Go ahead, Cinema. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm going to say this quick so Zaccheus can get his story.
Yeah.
Out. There's the make the hit mentality and there's the artistry mentality. Yeah, I deal with it all the time. I have people say I have a bunch of beats that are different styles, and the make the hit guy is like, that's whack and totally disrespectful. And the artistry guy will say, that's not what I'm looking for. Let me hear something else. It's two different mentalities. The make a hit guy is not going to be dealing with music 5 years from now. He just wants to hit. So he's going to take this current sound, and this is my opinion. So I don't, but this is my experience. He's going to take the sound, run with it, do what he can now, run from youth group to youth group, festival to festival, and have, doing what he's doing.
Right.
But the guy who's concerned about his music who's going to be doing this is like 5 years from now, if this is a hit, I still have to do this. Right. I have to like this. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of guys are just doing something because they see somebody else do it. And they don't really have a passion for it.
Right.
And it really hurts the people who have a passion for it. Because it's like, I want to do the music I like. What if I have a sound that nobody has? What if, what if I love boom bap and I want to do boom bap?
Right.
Don't try to come to me and come to my forum and make me be your favorite rapper. Go to your favorite rapper. Because it's like, I have a friend, and they were like, you should be like Lecrae. And he said, the best comeback ever. There's a Lecrae. Buy him. Listen to him. He says, I like him, but this is me when I create music. Mm-hmm. When I listen to music, I listen to different styles other than what I do. But when I create music, this is me. I think in gospel, the listener has crossed the line that in every other, community, they don't get the cross. About how I'm in the studio and what my creative control is, because you're trying to get booked by a youth pastor who's looking for the Christian future.
Yo, real quick, I got to hand this to Zaccheus, but I just thought of something. Cinema, you acknowledge something that on social media, you acknowledge Marvin Sapp's take on Jay-Z's album and relating it to the current state of gospel music and as far as its listeners and supporters of it.
Yep.
I want you to speak on that after Zaccheus goes.
Go ahead,
Zaccheus.
Yeah, man. When I tell all artists, especially the gospel Christian artists, holy Christian, keep it original because when you keep it original, people can when you have a love and you want to keep it, everybody has you have to develop a sound for yourself. Cause when you copy the trend, sometimes it's the truth. When you copy the trend, don't you have to sound better than the person that came up with the trend? When you're trying to get out there.
What do you mean?
What I mean is like when you're copying an other artist and you're copying their flow, their sound. Don't you have to prove yourself to be either just as good as them or even better?
Yes, actually, you make a good point. You do.
So when you do that, just remember, artists, that you got to do that.
Yeah.
You got to do that, or you got to even sound better. Because remember, you're coming out. They're out there. They're out there already. People know them. They don't know you.
Right. You sound like a copy.
You sound like
a copy. Everybody who was a copy of DOS Effects fell off.
I've seen that before. What a disaster.
Effect,
yeah.
Digging it pow. DOS Effects is remembered because they were the first people out there doing it.
Yes.
And I'm going to read Marvin. I'm going to read his post on IG.
Okay.
Because I did tag you in it, and I acknowledge it. And I acknowledge it because I don't want to get this wrong, And he said, it's hashtag transparent conversation, hashtag my personal opinion. And everyone's allowed to have it. And this is from Marvin Sapp's Instagram. I follow. Marvin Sapp's one of my heroes musically. Fred Hammond too. But, Marvin Sapp, well, I could talk about it another time.
Okay.
I was asked a question the other day that I wanted to address via social media. Here's the question. Jay-Z's album went platinum and it hasn't even been released to the masses yet. It wasn't even off Tidal yet when this happened.
Yep.
Because this is an older post.
Yeah, we know.
It went certified platinum just on Tidal.
Wow.
Coming to Apple and all other outlets next week. What is this saying? My response. The world supports its own. Not one supporter of Jay-Z, believer or non-believer, questions his lifestyle, beliefs, or commitments to his wife. They know that the messenger is flawed, but they support his message to the tune of 1 million sales, and it hasn't been released to the masses yet. I believe the world gets what believers still don't or refuse to understand. Hashtag my opinion again. That the message is always bigger than the messenger. Believers won't buy gospel music of some artists because of their presumed flaws and questionable life, making them, quote, the artist, bigger than the message of Christ. And in doing so, silencing this great gospel message musically and slowly but surely putting this industry of gospel music on life support that has the ability to impact the masses. Hashtag, again, my opinion. One day, I pray that we all drop our rocks and remember that everyone, and I mean everyone that God used in Scripture was flawed and had issues that wasn't Jesus Christ. And that's why we needed his redemptive work in our lives. However, even with their flaws and all, God used them to deliver a message of hope and healing. Support the message of gospel music, and let's keep it alive. And I tagged you two in this.
Yeah.
Because it was a conversation I had with you, Fifth, before, and we were talking about that.
Yep.
And it's something I mentioned early on about the truth is the truth. And the messenger is just the messenger. The messenger could be flawed. Everybody in the Bible is flawed, And what he was saying about needing a redemptive work, I'm like, if there was support, and I know there's a lot of gospel guys going off on Twitter about different things. It's because of a lack of support at the end of the day.
Yes, it is. Yes.
And so it becomes hard. And this is what I told somebody. If you worked at McDonald's and I came and asking you for free burgers, you wouldn't give them to me. If I'm making a living as an artist, you ain't going to ask me for a free record. You're going to buy the record and support it.
Yes.
This is their livelihood. And that's why some of them, I look, but I said, I'm not mad at them because this is their livelihood. I'm an audio engineer. I'm a musician. When people don't pay me, I'm in a situation you know, you don't get paid on time, or sometimes you don't get paid at all. That my bills don't go away. Food's not on the table. If I, you know, for audio school, I paid thousands of dollars, which I'm still paying back in student loans.
Oh my man, you know.
And if I could just step in real quick, you're talking about something that is commonly spoken of, as far as the Christian entertainment world of, so you know, faith-based entertainment of, hey, I'm an artist. I want you. I'm booking an artist. I want you to perform, but I can't pay you. But hey, you know, God provides. So you hear that excuse a lot.
A lot. And Fifth, we heard it a lot. Didn't we hear it a lot?
As we're in the world, you don't see a lot of that. You know why? Because the world is business first. The problem is you got too many soft, timid people in this circle that they accept that. Me, I don't accept that. I haven't done a show in a long time. If I did something for free, it was because family was involved.
Exactly.
It's a little different.
Yes.
The problem is when somebody says to you, and this has been said to every last one of us, because we all do things together musically, whether it be in group or whether it be solo, and we've all heard similar stuff. This being said, well, you know, you're not as big as Kurt Franklin or Fred Hammond, so. Yes. You know, just look at this as exposure.
Facts.
And on that, let me just step in.
Go in.
Yes, go ahead. Go in.
Yeah, Fred Hammond won't even walk in the door because if you haven't done the contract or rider, you can't even hope to see his shadow in your door. If I'm an artist and this is what I do, and we've been booked by people who are artists, not mentioning their names. If you're going to have somebody come up free for exposure, what does exposure do? If I don't have Merc, if I don't have anything, I haven't got nothing. I've spent money to get there. I've done that. If I'm doing this professionally, this is my job. Oh, so when you go to work Friday and your boss says, oh, I thank you for doing this work for the week, and I'm not giving you your check. It's exposure and experience. How would you feel?
Speak on it.
Speak. Yes.
I'm sorry. If I'm an artist, that's why you have the GMA, the Gospel Music Association and stuff, because of stuff like this. And that's why people don't go to certain circles. And I understand it because they're doing this full time. An album and this, and then they got families. They're doing this full time. And they're not trying to get rich. They're just trying to put food on the table. And you're going to have people, even if you take up an offering or you charge for tickets, and you're going to pay one person and you're not going to pay the opener.
That's happened before too. Yeah.
But that's the whole thing. Say no, and go and tell someone you trust, a friend, not to go there either. And that's my mentality, because the whole thing is, if I'm doing it, I do ministry for my personal church. I do favors for family.
Right.
But the whole thing is, it's already known. It's not shady. If you want to be shady, that's not cool, because the whole thing is, if that's their livelihood, you know, Tell Carrie Job you're not paying her.
Hey,
tell you know, Lecrae where he is. Tell Lecrae there ain't no money. He's not hitting the stage. Tell the truth, Ambassador. There's no money. They're not hitting the stage.
I'm not hitting the stage.
Exactly. We're not. No. I don't do it no more. I stopped.
I know you. We don't hit the stage.
Exactly.
But there's so many people out there who do. And then because you're the next Christian future. You know, it's wrong. And this is something that if you call yourself a follower of Christ and you don't have ethics, what's your problem? Because out there in the world, man, I get more respect. I sent somebody something like for a job in the Christian industry, didn't get a response. Even in a secular response, you'll get a yes or a no, respectfully.
Right.
If you want that respect in the gospel industry, you need to start carrying yourself like a professional. And if they don't carry themselves like a professional, you carry yourself like a professional and know your worth. You know who you are. If I'm not nobody, you're going to pay me something to get up there. Even if it's, I don't have the, if you're making a profit, I'm getting paid. Otherwise, I'm not going through with it. And the whole thing is, don't combine ministry with business. Oh, hello?
Hello, yeah, we here.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I heard a weird noise from Skype, excuse me. So if you're going to, if this is an artist, treat them like an artist. If it's a church ministry event, that's different. Mm-hmm. Where we're doing an outreach and everyone's free and it's a volunteer event. If I choose to do that, I choose to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
But if this is a concert,
you're not about to be taking money out the door, and then I can't even get nothing to eat.
Exactly,
right,
and then you're charging me for the food.
Yeah, and then you want me to perform 30 minutes.
Exactly.
They charge me for the food.
Charge me for the food. Yeah, exactly.
They even giving me a plate.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, $8 for a fish and bun.
Are you sick?
What?
Yeah,
I kid you. I'm not gonna call the name up, but I kid you not.
Right. You told me about that.
I kid you not.
Yeah.
We have on this for days.
Yeah, we all have stories.
Yeah,
that's true.
yeah. We know what we need to talk about this in another episode because this is serious. I experienced it so many times that I can tell you stories and stories and stories about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you're following a trend and not being yourself, what's going to happen when you don't have any material to copy anymore if that trend dies? What happens to you?
You end up being a one-hit wonder like a lot of these guys out here.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, that was a hot song, but you have to have a sound. That's the whole thing. Music is an expression of self. And so if it's fraudulent to begin with, you're not going to last. If I hear, no matter where Alicia Keys has been in her development, when I hear the beginning of a song, oh, that's Alicia. I can hear it.
Exactly.
Musically.
That's her sound. Yeah.
But even if it's a different genre than what you're used to, there's something of her that's in that music. Even from all of J to even 444, it's all J.
Yeah.
It's just what makes it him is in there. It's in the DNA of the music. Nas, same thing. Soup the Chemist. Straight up, any SFC track, or
right.
SFC was his group. Soup the Chemist is when he went solo. So why say? If for those who don't know, right. Those are things. I hear it. If I hear Stro Elliott, who's working with the Roots, who's in the percussions,
right.
I hear Stro Elliott beat. Like, whoo, that has to be Stro. Yep, I'm right.
Yeah, from the percussions.
Oh my goodness!
Over and over again.
He's on the Tonight Show. Congratulations! I'm so happy for him. I love that dude, man. If you don't have that beat tape he just dropped, you need to check that out.
Yeah.
And so these are the things. If you want to last long term and not be a fad, or you have to find it. But if that is sound and it's true to you. I don't knock that. The subject matter is about people who are, I tell you, kids will listen to anything. My nieces listen to K-pop, and it sounds like 90s R&B. I took them to see EXO in New Jersey. I saw a bunch of screaming teenage kids, American, screaming, and EXO killed it. I like K-pop. I like a lot of things. I'm not going to front. I had a good time at the concert. And when Love Me Right came on, I was up filming because EXO's my group. But you know what I'm saying? My nieces are like me, going to other countries to find music to listen to. Because if Mary J or people ain't dropping something, I got to find something in between.
All right. So we're gonna have to wrap this up now. So Zaccheus, I'm gonna let you.
My final word. So I don't need a final word. So you can.
All right. So, anything last that you want to add on to what you were saying?
I want be original.
Yeah,
that's right.
You can copy. I copied to learn. I copied Stevie Wonder, keyboard players, Elton John, gospel, Michael Brooks, because I listen to Commission.
Right.
Those chordings. I was I was mentored a bit by Sean D. Patterson Sr. You know, and a lot of people mentored me even when I was at Bible school. And so you copy to learn, then you find your own niche.
Right.
But feel free to experiment. Feel free to do something a little different. You know, somebody who works with you might not do that, but you can do that. You know, it's okay. You know, but you got to find what's true to yourself and what you like, because you know if you start copying, you're gonna lose your way.
Yes.
And a lot of musicians who haven't made it back because you know what is your real sound? Nobody knows.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's groups that you know decades.
Mm-hmm.
You know when Earth and Fire, when you hear those horns,
Yeah.
they're still talking.
Yeah.
So you'll always have even if you don't have like a big fan base where you're super popular, you'll have a loyal fan base that'll always come back to hear you. It's harder to build that, but it's worth it. If you're a fad, you don't have anybody. They'll be making jokes. You know, they always joking on Young MC and Vanilla Ice. Even Vanilla Ice still has a one. That's him. You know, whether you liked it or not, the blonde dude, boom, 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 you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they put that in a movie, he's still getting paid. So if that's you, that's you.
Mm-hmm.
Let it be you. Okay, I'm done.
All right. So, Zaccheus,
Yeah, man.
any last words?
Yes. Going on what Cinnamon says. Always be on original. That's one thing with me and Fifth. When we do projects, man, I noticed that with us, we keep the formula to our origin, our root. Every time any beat that comes on, any instrumental that drop, we go to the radio station, we do a freestyle, we keep it to our root, we keep it to our essence, to who we are. You know, listen, I've been bombarded with hip hop, but I always kept the dancehall flavor, the soca flavor of my style of lyric flow going, because I said, man, I want people to know who I am. I want to make a mark, and so I want people to know who I am. No matter what instrumental or beat that comes on, I kept it that way. So it's like it's important for people to know when you come on the radio or anywhere, when people play music, they have to know, oh well, we know who this is. We don't, you know, because I've heard music and people just change the whole formula. Like, who is that? And I've heard people say that don't sound good. Well, is he trying to sound like so and so now? What? Always keep it original, and always stay true to yourself, and always keep the origin of your music, your lyrical context. I mean, you can upgrade yourself, of course. I'm not saying you can't upgrade yourself. You can't get better with your lyrical flow, but always keep true to who you are, though. That's all we're saying.
Yeah. What I have to say on this is there's a difference between stealing somebody's identity musically and admiration.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to be inspired. I'm inspired by many artists, whether it be from then till now. They inspire me to be a better artist, you know, to be better at what I do. And any craft that I do, whether it be musically, whether it be any things that I like to take part in, you know. And so it's okay to be inspired. It's good to acknowledge that and pay homage to those. But you know, you never forget where you come from. You know, creatively as an artist, anything you do, never forget where you come from. And the one thing Cinema said, you said, what do you do when the trend now fades and now you need new material? And I'm going to keep this specifically for the gospel artists. if you're a true gospel artist and you're keeping it faith based, then you already know where your purpose comes from.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was no need for you to copy or follow anybody, because the purpose that you have gotten, and all three of us on this microphone share, is that we're supposed to be leaders in what we do. So you don't follow them. They follow you. You become that trend. Well, not trend, standard, because a standard lasts beyond a trend.
Yep.
A trend, you trend set. You set a trend. And then you create, you give an example of that, and then that example, you set a standard. Musically, like you mentioned earlier, Stevie Wonder set a standard musically. Michael Jackson, Prince, James Brown.
Yep.
They didn't have to sound like anybody else. No, people were still trying to go to the level that they were. I never heard a situation where Stevie Wonder today, who still creates, says, "Hey, well, I gotta put out something that sounds like this because auto-tune is popular." No, never. I've never heard that man or anybody that we respect as legends that is still creating to this day ever do that. So since they never did that, why should y'all up and coming, artists and some established artists?
Right.
You don't have to succumb to that or lower your standards of that. For those who don't have the creative freedom, the ones who are signed, hey, you've made your decision. And if you're not comfortable within your decision, then, hey, you have signed on the dotted line and you got to do what you got to do until that contract is expired.
Exactly.
To those who are not signed, what is your excuse? You do not have the same excuse. One of the biggest things somebody has to do before they start something is, number one, they have to start it. But before you start it, you got to know what it is you're doing, and you have to like it. Every trend that comes out is not likable by the artists who are actually doing the music. And a fan knows when you're doing something that you don't love. I see that fans respect you more when you do something that you love. And I'm starting to see that with a lot of Jay-Z fans with this 444 album. And also Jay-Z has gotten the respect of people who never really liked his music, and now they like him. And they like it because it's something that is true to him. And so I'm not saying that everybody has to follow Jay-Z's path, but the point I'm making is, if somebody like him, who we've seen through his chronology of work, his discography, and seen the things that he had done, if he himself is able to be comfortable and feel that he's free to create what he wants, what's stopping you? Especially if you're independent and unsigned, what's stopping you?
Exactly.
Okay? It's time to do what you were meant to do. And that's all I got to say. So, Cinemascapes, where can they reach you?
Cinemascapes, Cinema, Cinemascapes, Facebook page, Instagram, and Twitter.
All right.
At Cinemascapes, and then there's a page on Facebook that you can reach me at. Just type in Cinemascapes. You'll see the banner for the podcast on my page.
That's what's up. Zaccheus.
Yo, you can reach me at Wayne and Twitter.com, Wayne Bacchus 2 at Wayne Bacchus 2. You can also reach me on Instagram, Zaccheus ZACCHEUS 70B73. That's on Instagram, and also on I said Facebook, but also on Twitter. That's a Twitter. What is that? I have also you could also get my book on Amazon.com/Wayne Backus. The book is also called it's called A Bad Man, a Thug and a Gangster. You can get it in you can get it in Barnes and Noble. It's available in Barnes and Noble. Physical copy and online is available. It's also available on ebooks, Google Play, iTunes is available everywhere. So go get yourself a copy. It's an action drama book. It's a good read for the summer. Thank you.
All right. You can reach me at The Fifth General on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Fifth General. THE5TH General. All right. So we're going to get up out of here. We're going to see you guys next time. I'd like to thank all the listeners for listening and rocking with us. We hope that continues, and we'll do the best we can.
Thank you.
Thank you, and we'll do the best we can with coming up with nice creative content. All right? All right, so signing off, this is the Fifth General.
Zaccheus.
And Cinemascapes.
All right, see y'all next time.
Peace.
Peace.